I have officially flipped full bullish on the crypto market because I am not kidding when I say our once-in-a-lifetime opportunity is right now. Now, what do I mean by right now? Is it right this day, this hour, this minute? Not quite. I think it's definitely the next few months here. And I'm going to show you a chart and also a report in just a second from one of the world's largest financial institutions analyzing crypto technology, not just crypto and blockchain tech itself, but also gaming, metaverse, AI, so on and so forth, and showing how sizable these markets will very soon become. Yes, I'm talking about 2025. Guys, we might not get another opportunity to buy altcoins this cheap because I strongly believe 2026 to 2028, aka the next bear market, we will most definitely have a framework in place. Therefore, regulators will come in. What happens then? The large institutions come in, so do the small institutions, and then they buy up these cryptocurrencies, therefore meaning we end up having a situation play out like the stock market. Yes, there'll be gains still to make, but I do think these explosive once-in-a-lifetime opportunities are right now. Okay, so let me move over to this chart real quickly and just show you guys and give you perspective on what I'm talking about, right? Essentially, the time right now, the next month, 2, 3 months, is equivalent to back down here, right? 2019. Now, if you want to sort of throw the idea of 2025 being essentially the 2021 bull run, well, yes, I can tell you right now, I clear as they remember it being 2020 and 2021, thinking to myself, if only I had just more conviction back in 2019. And I clearly remember this, and I know for a fact right now, that time is right now, okay? So if you're someone thinking to yourself, oh, you know, I'm not too sure about crypto, where's crypto headed? Well, this report I'm going to mention in a minute is going to show you those key narratives, those key industries that will take off the most, and I actually do really agree with it. I'm going to give you some altcoins as well that do fit into those narratives, of course. But I really want to emphasize, guys, like any project, you're going to find 10, 20, 30, 40 X's in the bull run, and you're going to be kicking yourself if you and ah too much and you don't have a strategy right now, which is why I always emphasize strategies always win. Now, what is this report and who was the issuer of the report? Well, it was Citi GPS, or a subsidiary of the Citigroup, which again is one of the world's largest financial institutions. I think the world's biggest producer of cards, and I think America's like third largest bank. They're definitely one of the largest banks over here in Australia as well, and they're everywhere, okay? So a subsidiary called GPS, right? Global Perspectives and Solutions, which is pretty much like their innovation hub, right? These guys go out and obviously you find new trends and find new financial prosperous markets, like you can see over here on that website. And they conducted this report with a whole bunch of crypto founders, okay? Some of which include Sylvia McCarley. Yes, he's mentioned down here as a professor at MIT, but he's the founder of Algorand. We also have Sunil over here, the COO or one of the co-founders of Zinfin or XDC Network. We have John Wu, the president of Ava Labs, Ryan, the president of Polygon Labs, and where is he over here? Stani, which is the founder and CEO of Aave Companies, okay? So yes, they do go through and interview every single one of these founders individually, which is a very interesting read. I'm not going to go over that in this video, but they do say some very interesting things indeed, and this report's 162 pages. I will try to leave the link down below to it. It was released back in March of this year, but sometimes the link does have this error where it doesn't work sometimes, so I'll see how it works, and if it works, it works. If not, you guys can just go on Google and try to find the report yourselves. But if you're still a bit confused about who Citigroup is, guys, their revenue was over 73 billion US dollars last year. Not turnover, revenue, okay? So massive company here, very thorough report, as you can obviously imagine. And I want to take you through some of the most important points. And of course, they do mention some of these large emerging industries that indicate to me, guys, I'm telling you right now, like it's really hard for us to kind of get a good grasp of how big this market will really become. You know, we have numbers that are thrown around here, 5 trillion, 10 trillion, or anywhere in between, but we really don't know where it's going to actually go. Of course, we saw the last bull run, the tip-off point was 3 trillion, but I want to emphasize that was pretty much like over 95% speculation. That was 95% you and I, people like retail, buying in. Now what we're going to find is, as we're seeing in the bear market, this evolution of moving away from speculation to actual adoption. And as you're going to see in a minute, this could definitely blow industries, like narratives themselves, into the trillions and trillions of dollars, okay? So it got me quite surprised and excited when I saw this report. Let me just read to you some of the points, then we'll actually get into some of these industries, okay? So they mentioned here, unlike automobiles, right, or the more recent innovations like ChatGPT or the metaverse, blockchain is a back-end infrastructure technology without a prominent consumer interface, making it harder to visibly see how it could be innovative, okay? So while this mentions things like the metaverse, which is part of crypto, I want to say for everyone like myself out there who is a blockchain fiend, who loves crypto and the back end sort of stuff, like, quant, for example, do not be deterred by when we see these years and years of sideways action, or these years of, we hear this great news and nothing actually happens, because this will take a lot of time to be deeply integrated within the existing infrastructure around the world, okay? But we do obviously have other industries, right? Metaverse, for example, AI, that will pop off within the crypto sphere. But we believe we are approaching an inflection point where the promised potential of blockchain will be realized and measured in billions of users and trillions of dollars in value. Successful adoption will be when blockchain has 1 billion plus users who do not even realize they are using the technology. How many times have I said this? People always scream and rave about DeFi, 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 and how amazing it is right now. It is absolutely crap, and I have no problem saying that to the whole world. If it is difficult for even you and I to sometimes get our head around using a new DeFi platform, for example, it could be anything, right? I'm not pointing fingers here. That is not mass adoption ready. Mass adoption ready is when we can use blockchain technology in any level of the stack, whether it's a layer 1, layer 2, whatever it might be, DeFi, seamlessly with an existing infrastructure without even knowing we're using it, which will come, I believe, by 2030. Let me continue here. This is likely to be driven by the adoption of central bank digital currencies, of course, by large central banks, as well as tokenized assets in gaming and blockchain-based payments on social media. By 2030, up to 5 trillion of only CBDCs could be circulating in major economies around the world, half of which could be linked to the DLT technologies, okay? So tokenization of financial and real-world assets could be the killer use case driving blockchain's breakthrough, with tokenization expecting to grow by a factor of 80x in private markets, that's our markets, and reach up to almost 4 trillion in value by 2030. Quite a bullish statement. Some of these successfully adopted blockchain based sort of infrastructure sources, I guess you would say, right, includes decentralized digital IDs or DIDs, ZKP, zero knowledge proofs, oracles, and secure bridges. Again, I'm going to go over some examples in a minute here, but if we continue down here, what do they say, right? The success of blockchain adoption will be measured by when it is being used by 1 billion plus end users who do not even realize they are using the technology, right? So they mentioned CBDCs, of course, that's an obvious one, right? But that doesn't really have an impact on very many cryptocurrencies. Yes, the ones I talk about for sure, they're going to need, they need the native token for fuel if they do need to interact with the public ledger. But of course, mainly here, something that, Alex Becker preaches all the time about, which is the gaming industry, right? With over 3 billion gamers currently, we expect 500 million to 100 million could be using Web3 by 2025. Guys, I mean, you could slap an average, a purchase amount of per person on like the games people buy in the gaming industry. But I mean, come on now. There are so many gamers. I mean, that makes up almost like 1/3 of the entire world's population here. So we're talking about an industry like GameFi that integrates gaming, which uses regular servers for God's sake, that is just as fast as regular games, that has a game loop, it has a DeFi loop rather in it, that just leverages smart contracts. So yes, 100% agree, gaming is going to be an absolutely massive market, as well as tokenization of collectibles, NFTs, so on and so forth, right? But nevertheless, trillions of value is expected to come into the market. As they mentioned here, they mentioned 2030, but actually later in the report they do go into, say, 2025 as well. So they forecast 4 to 5 trillion in tokenized digital securities and 1 trillion of DLT technologies in 2030. Okay, so this is some of the things you can see on the screen. Real estate funds, for example, trade finance, security financing, and collateral, so on and so forth. Okay, these are massive, massive markets, guys. We're talking about, as you can see here, currently, $187 trillion, 20 trillion. They're all in the trillion. It's just massive. Okay, so to put that into perspective, some of these cryptocurrencies like HBAR, Stellar, so on and so forth, part of their crypto, part of their sort of project itself is just the tokenization aspect, let alone the other potential things with the metaverse and the gaming and so on and so forth, okay? Now let's move on a little bit over here. What does this enable, right? Blockchain promises something that is in parts a replacement of current functioning systems and imparts new capabilities and operating models. Of course, it's going to replace current systems, of course, right? We of course knew that, but this is going to take a little bit more time, as I mentioned earlier in the report. This takes a while to become accustomed to traditional markets, or at least the elite. You want to have a platform that you're comfortable to integrate, otherwise that's a bit of a risk, okay? So again, it takes a little bit of time here. From a technology specification perspective, blockchain needs to have transaction scale and throughput, strong guarantees of security, on-chain identity, privacy, oracles, bridges, and good user experience. Again, the last part there really sends that message home, right? Good user experience. Right now, it is a little bit inadequate. We are finding systems that are becoming easier, but I think it's safe to say all of us deeply know, and I'm very transparent about this, it is a little bit inadequate right now. Now, here are some of those technology drivers, right? DIDs, ZKPs, oracles, secure bridges. And let me mention some of these projects in a second, but I want to emphasize just how crazy this can possibly be. Let me mention this and then show you a chart in a minute on what they expect the market to grow to, okay? So how big is the market for emerging technologies? What they say here is essentially that AI could be mass adopted in as early as 2 to 4 years. Yes, that will literally come around the time of the 2025 bull run because of the recent adoption of things like Chat GPT, improved algorithm models, so on and so forth, okay? But this gives us an indication of where we can position ourselves to cop most of the traffic, all right? Now, as you can see here, this is a chart showing the growth of these projects. Now, at the bottom here, they show that pretty much the annual growth, right, in percentages, and also the time to adoption, essentially. But what we can see here are some of these, and it actually surprised me to see cybersecurity over here as well. There are some up-and-coming cybersecurity projects that I do have my eyes on, but cloud computing, right? That's something that I've been preaching for a long, long time now. Why? Because if the world moves into a state of this totalitarian-esque position we're going into, which I think it's becoming more and more obvious even to those leftists, I strongly believe that people are going to want to leverage distributed computing, such as, well, actually, I'll mention them in just a second, but I do have 2 projects I always talk about on the channel that are in a great position to take advantage. And again, that is almost a $1 trillion market itself within the next 4 years, guys. 4 years. That will position us to 2025, right? AI, almost just over $500 million. AI, just over $500 billion. Metaverse in the same sort of position, VR, AR, so on and so forth. Blockchain itself, again, on the max side of things over here, 6, 7, 8 years to kind of mass adoption and $147 billion market. So it's not a massive, massive market, but this is one predictor, okay? I do think blockchain tech will be a lot larger than this. As I mentioned, I do agree it will take longer to kind of come into fruition. And as I mentioned down here, right, billions of users, a key area where blockchain/DLT will make a significant impact is in digital money. So of course, digital money takes longer to create frameworks for. These things are securities, right? These things require a lot more oversight. So it makes a little bit more sense as to why they would take longer to find real adoption, okay? But I wanted to re-emphasize these 4 sort of technology drivers over here: DID, ZKPs, oracles, secure bridges, and also what was mentioned back over here in this sort of diagram, right? And the projects I'm particularly looking at, and the ones that I've been telling you for a long time to take a closer view on, is Render, of course. Render fits in the AI narrative, so that's one of the biggest narratives, and also the biggest narrative apparently out there right now, which is distributed computing, okay? Distributed GPU use, right? It's going to be powerful, but one I'm even more excited on is Flux, right? Now you'll notice with the Render chart here in the last 12 months, we're actually quite a bit up. Yes, I still think in comparison to where it can go, at $1.37, I mean, we all saw the report a second ago, it's going to be a lot higher than that. I strongly believe as well, they have a great company behind them, a toy as well. But Flux, guys, in the last 12 months, we are pretty much at lows. Not all-time lows, let me tell you right now. But in the last 12 months, most definitely, and I didn't think Flux would ever get down to this level ever again. Matter of fact, I'm going to be bulk buying this at around the 30-cent mark, okay? So, I mean, again, let me refer back to, these sort of charts and indicators over here. For us to have a functioning crypto, DLT, distributed, I guess whatever buzzword you want to use in this case, space, we have to have these technologies because this supports the infrastructure like actual blockchain networks. This is like the base framework, if that makes sense, right? Also, bridges, secure bridges, Quant's like the most secure bridge I think anyone can ever think of, right? So, and it connects to everything. This is literally what this report is speaking to us. And this, of course, is just a single report, let alone all the other information that goes into making me bullish on these projects individually, right? ZKPs, what better than the person or company leading the charge of ZKPs than Mina themselves? This project is a ZKP through and through. The very blockchain itself is a ZKP essentially, right? But also, Mina uses ZKPs for an oracle itself to connect to any website, extract the data, put it on chain, because of course, crypto needs to have a way to absorb information from the real world. There's no immediate link there. It's just like this siloed network. It's like having a computer that's not connected to the internet. It can just run computations locally. Not that important, right? Also, Chainlink, of course, and Oracle, but also a secure bridge, right? CCIP recently came out as well. So guys, all I'm saying here is Citigroup themselves, or at least a subsidiary, has created a report that recognizes the fact that cryptocurrency is moving into a direction I think we all know deep down, but a lot of us aren't really taking the advantage right now because we might feel like, oh, is this really going to go up? Yes, it's going to go up. We might, if we find a black swan event comes through and completely abolishes the 2025 bull run, there is 2030. There is subsequent years, and these projects will break off the Bitcoin cycle, I believe, in perpetuity, and then, find their own way in time, right? So guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Please recognize the fact that we are early and we have a lot of upside to come. And I look forward to talking to you all soon. Take care. Bye.